Hi guys. I'm gonna go over the drawing of the eye. It is now 8 o'clock on Thursday night. I wanted to make this now, because why not? Figure you guys are still doing homework, so should I. I'm gonna use a dark pencil because I want you to be able to see. Don't necessarily recommend that you start off with a really dark pencil, but I gotta do what I gotta do here. So here is my paper. Here is the eyeball. It is truly frightening looking at it here on the webcam, isn't it? So much stuff happening on this desk. So I just want to talk you through it. Wow. The way that you should be sort of thinking while you're drawing is not far off from the way that you drew your hand, except when you're drawing an eye, it is not the worst idea to start off by drawing a big ball, because that's the eyeball. You do not have to do this. It's a suggestion. It's a good way to remember that you're dealing with a sphere, right? So, that being said, I sort of figure very lightly that this is basically the center, right? You don't have to start off this way. I do think it helps. If you're really not good at drawing a circle, you could trace one, or you could just sort of skip this step and pick up here. All right, so if you're not drawing the circle first, if you don't want to trace something, you don't have to. You can just start here. I just want you to remember that the eye is indeed a ball. Okay, you take it out and throw it across the room, but don't do that. That would be gross. All right, so then I'm going to kind of think this is the ball, right? Like you could almost see, like, see where this like little under eye puffiness is. Like that's the ball, right? And so then that's the sort of little tear ducty area, helps keep the eye where it belongs. So I'm going to draw that. And then I'm really going to pay attention to what this eyelid is doing. It kind of comes almost straight and then curves around. And it wouldn't hurt when you're drawing to do exactly what I just did, which is kind of trace over the line. Like, I don't know if you're in your Chromebook or what, but you could stay there. You could kind of just follow the outline with your finger just to kind of tell your brain what's happening. It's like muscle memory. So I'm like, oh, it's straight, and then it's curving around. Don't touch your own eye like that. It's a pandemic. It's a pandemic. Keep your hands, out of your eyes. Don't touch your eyes. Bad. Just a direct pathway to germs. All right. So sort of straightish right there, but then curving. Tear duct stuff going on. And then the bottom, kind of the same thing. It's kind of straightish at the tear duct, and then it's curving around the eye. So there are really no straight lines on your face because you are not a cartoon character, as far as I know. Right? And then so I'm just kind of thinking about this curve and looking at the waterline, which is where your eyelid meets your eye itself. I think that's what's called waterline. You guys that watch makeup tutorials would probably have a better idea what that actually means. And then you can erase. The eraser, this guy, is your best friend. There's no shame in the eraser. The eraser is a drawing tool. I'll come back. Okay. So I'm leaving this little bit of curve here because it helps me realize what the structure is, like there's a little bit of eyelid happening, a little bit of eye bag happening there, not much. She's not exhausted yet. She's not on 7:05 Newburgh Free Academy start time yet, so she's not so tired she could cry. I'm really looking at what's happening in here. There's like a dark fold there. And you can blend as you go or not. You can keep it being a line. There's that little bit of crease there. And then it's lighter. So this is the line weight, like we talked about in the hands, like a heavier fold. It's deeper, right? And then it's a little bit lighter up there where the other part of her eye is kind of overlapping, right? So not everybody has like this part. I can't do this part of their eye kind of folding over their eyelid like that, So it just depends on your structure. Like I sort of have like Muppet eyes, like Miss Piggy or something. So I guess they call them prominent eyes. So I don't really have that going on. I don't know if that's called hooded or not, but again, you makeup tutorial people, you probably know more than I do. All right, so the next thing you really want to think about is, like we said, this is a ball in the head. So once you get like the basics of the eye shape and the eyelids down, just know that you're going to be doing some adjusting. This isn't going to be like perfect. I usually have to erase and go back and forth if I'm actually trying to be realistic. All right, so this is the iris. So I'm really going to pay attention to the iris and see how much of the white space it's taking up. Notice there is no white above the iris. There's no white showing below the iris in this eye. You may draw another eye at some point and be able to see white, but we cannot. So we're going to draw what we see, not what we think we see. How many times is she going to say that? I have a feeling it's going to be a lot. She repeats herself. Yeah, I think she's losing it. All right. So this is kind of like a normal sized iris. Like this person isn't staring into the sun, nor are they in a dark room. So it's letting in sort of normal lit room sort of amount of light. So what you don't want to do, unless you're drawing like a psycho, I'm just going to draw this down here, is, oh, look, that's a nice eye. There's an iris. When you draw the pupil like that, person looks crazy, right? Or at least very unfriendly. So no on that. This is what we do not do unless there's a reason for it in the drawing. Do teeny tiny pupils because it sort of reads as unattractive. There's a reason why bars and clubs are dimly lit. People actually appear more attractive, not just because it's dark and you can't see details, but also because when your pupils are bigger, it's like a sign of attraction or something. It's science. You're going to have to believe me or Google it. If you don't believe me, Google it. All right. So I have to stop myself from getting all involved in the iris because I'm getting sucked in there. What I want to do next is go ahead and go in and shade the corners of the eye. And that is your absolute number one way to make your eye look three-dimensional. Because until then, I have to fix this. Something's happening there. Until you shade the corners of the eye, it looks flat. It looks like a decal, right? So your eyes aren't like stickers on your head. So no matter what your eye shape, there will be shading in the corners. That is tip absolutely numero uno, most important. Um, Once you learn it, you're going to look at other people's artwork and be like, ooh, it's going to start to make you crazy when people don't do it. And then the other thing, if you look, it depends on the light source, but there's a light above this person somewhere. And we know that because the eyelashes are actually casting a shadow on the top of the eye. So you see that right there? Boop, 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 boop. All right. So I'm going to go ahead, put a little bit of a shadow there. I'm not going to get involved with those yet, or if at all. Just a little bit of shadow on the top of the eye. And I suppose you could get all involved. I would make the pupil kind of dark. And then I wouldn't try to draw every last muscle in the iris, the colored part, yet. And it depends. So if you want to go for it and really get that kind of universe looking muscle in there, you can have at it. Otherwise, you can simplify it any way you want. Mine looks like a sunflower, doesn't it? It does. Right. And then just kind of overall shade it to show that it's a different color than the eye, white, the sclera. So you can get as involved in this iris as you choose to. I'm just going to speed it up for the purposes of not making you watch me draw forever. It is important to go in and make the pupil dark, though. My hair's in the lip gloss. Okay. I can't wear lip gloss outside anymore because we have a mask on, so gotta walk around the house with your lip gloss on, right? So there's where the eyelid is meeting the eye. That might be a little dark. I might want to soften it. It's not too dark down here, right? They didn't go in with the big old kohl eyeliner and make a big dark line there, so I'm actually going to have to show that more like this, right? Because we can see like all that thickness of the eyelid right there between the eye and the eyelashes. It's kind of the same thing there. Like you see a little bit of eyelid before the lashes start. Because again, we are really, really looking at what we're seeing, what we're drawing, and trying to find like every little thing that we didn't notice before. So yesterday we did sketches, and today we're really studying it. Like we're trying to do like a rendering, which means like it's a really careful drawing. I'm not sure about that shape. I'm not loving that. That might have to change. All right, and now I'm going to be, I do want to put that shadow in there. A little more shadow there. Whew. I don't know if you guys can hear my computer in the recording, but it's cranking. It's a little worrisome, actually. All right, so I think that's pretty good. One way to check the shape of the eye that you're drawing is to look at the white parts and look at them like negative space and see what shape they're making, and that's pretty close. And that's pretty close. And again, it doesn't hurt to kind of imaginarily kind of trace things just so that your hand is telling your brain, which is telling your hand what to draw. All right. So now I'm going to go in with the eyelashes. And this is one of those places that people start doing weird things, like just weird. Like just things that we think are happening, but we've never really looked. Or it's interesting. I guess it just depends on what you focus on, right? Like some people can really draw people really well without trying. Some people can draw buildings really well without trying. Some people can draw cars. Some people can draw landscapes. So maybe it just depends on what you're interested in. I don't know. Right? And then we're going to do eyelashes, and they're not coming out right from there. They're coming out from this little division between the eye and the outside of the eyelid. So it's kind of like, if I can get further down, it's like this little curve like that. Like almost think about like when you, sorry guys, girls, if you've worn mascara, it's kind of like that gesture. That's like when you bend it. So it's the same kind of gesture as when you're taking the mascara wand and you're getting it right up next to your eye and going, ding. And guys, you're either going to have to go try on some mascara or you're just going to take my word for it. So it's like starts here, curves out. Starts here, curves out. And these appear to be like semi-normal eyelashes that don't have like a ton of mascara on. And probably a young person because she's still got a couple layers of eyelashes going on there. It's another thing that happens when you get older. Goodbye eyebrows, goodbye eyelashes. And then you can always like touch up with your eraser. So that needs some work. It's not loving that right now. But it's the general idea. Shade, 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 shade. And then the bottom lashes, same kind of idea. They're a little lighter. Oh, there's yelling in my house. That's great. It's just trying to make a video. Cool. All right, and I think that's pretty good for now. He's actually calling me while I'm making a video. Do you hear him? Do you hear him? Anyway, I want to keep going. But I don't understand why this is happening. So we're not going to draw the eyebrow because we can't see it, but you can kind of guesstimate where it would be. All right, I don't think it's, oh, geez, my big fat head is in the way. I don't think it's done per se, but it's not bad. All right, so long story short, take your time, study, 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 really look at this for shapes and lines and proportions. Look at the white, like the negative space, and really take your time and try to get the shapes right. And then a finishing touch is to probably go back and make the pupil really dark. And then just do touch-ups. It would be fun to go back and spend a lot of time on the iris, but again, I'm not going to make you watch that. So that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed the show. No, not so much. I don't even know how to turn this off.